Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over this great story titled, Am I the A-hole for refusing to sell my rental properties at my fiance's request? And a big shout out to Joseph for sending me this story. And guys, this story is definitely one of the better ones that I have covered that was posted on Reddit in a long time. This story isn't just great for entertainment value, but also for teaching value. This is a story about a guy who's about to be married to this woman who's the polar opposite of him when it comes to money and spending. You're going to see, guys, he is 36 years old and she is 30. They're about to be married, and this guy has done very well for himself in terms of real estate. He bought properties when the market was down. This is years ago. The market was down probably around the time of the financial crisis. Bought at the right exact time and is reaping the benefits big time. One, an industrial building that he's renting out to some commercial tenants, another also in residential. His fiancée, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. She is a reckless spender. And in this situation, guys, she wants him, when they get married, or actually right now, to sell these great income generating properties just so she can have a big wedding and honeymoon. Piss it all away. These great investments that he literally could quit his job and make enough money from that no problem, everything's covered. Just to fund a big fairy tale wedding, honeymoon, and all that. And you're also going to see, guys, that this is causing problems between the two of them. And I'm doing this one, guys, and and you're going to see how this whole thing ends, because it's so important for you guys to do relationships. If you are a guy, and I hope that you are the type of guy that is a saver and is into building wealth as opposed to pissing away your money on just having stuff, and you get involved with a girl, that's the polar opposite, that she cannot keep a dollar. She has to spend everything that comes in and rack up credit cards to make herself feel better. Shoes, clothing, expensive cars, vacations, the lifestyle. It will never work. It is going to be never-ending fighting and drama and turmoil. You can't fulfill your dreams of building wealth and building businesses and all that with her pissing it all away. And a lot of guys will do that, because you can have guys that when they were younger didn't get a lot of attention from girls, and then they focused on themselves in school, did well in school, maybe started businesses, side businesses, they're making money, and then they start having resources and the girls start paying attention to them. Desperate for a girl, they pick a girl who's pretty and who's a shopaholic, and she ends up ruining them. All for a piece of ass. So this is an important lesson for the guys out there. You cannot be involved with a gal. A little spending, no big deal. You gotta live a little. I hardly buy anything for myself. If I'm going to spend money, it's for a vacation, travel, and all that, because I enjoy seeing things. But in terms of having stuff, fuck that. I'd rather take that money and invest it in one form or another. So guys, this is a really good one to see how this guy handles this whole thing, and a perfect example of why I talk about you got to be on the same page when it comes to spending and saving. Otherwise, disaster. So it starts off, he says here, 2 years ago, I, a 36-year-old male, proposed to my fiancée, a 30-year-old female. And our wedding is going to be this coming summer. When we both met, we both owned properties. She owned a pretty typical luxury townhouse, and I owned 2 properties in the inner city. We both agreed that when it was time to cohabitate, we would live in her condo. Smack! You should not go to her turf. That is a recipe for a disaster. Now, I can see why he did this in terms of you'll see in a moment. But going to the girl's turf, bad idea. Because immediately she thinks she calls the shots. And you've seen this in the stories I've covered. He says here, I own an old 2 and 2 down duplex in a neighborhood that butts right up against an old industrial area, which I was living in until we moved in together. And on the next block, I also own a 4,000 square foot concrete block industrial building. I got them as a part of a screaming package deal about 12 years ago when you couldn't give property away in that neighborhood. I now rent the duplex to a couple of Latino families, and he says, and God, I hope they never leave because they're the best renters ever. And I rent half of the factory building to a guy who does HVAC and the other half to a small microbrewery hipsters. The powers of gentrification have been at work in this hood for about half of the time I own these properties, and I'm making buku bucks on these rentals. I could lose my job tomorrow and never even blink. That is awesome. Good for him. He bought at a time when obviously the market wasn't strong for real estate, and also in an area wasn't strong. He took a risk, and it's paying off. That is awesome. But wait till you see what happens. He says, my fiance does not see it this way. Ever since we moved in together, she's been pestering me to sell the places. Is she out of her freaking mind? These properties are a gold mine. And watch this. It's ramping up the closer we get to the wedding. I kept telling her that as long as I own these places, it practically guaranteed third source of income and would be invaluable if either of us hit a rough patch job-wise. She does not see it that way, though, as she sees it as a potential big pile of liquid cash that can go towards a wedding, honeymoon, and upgrades to the living situation after. We had the biggest blow-up yet about it last Saturday, and I kind of lost it. I'm a saver, and she's a spender, and I said that to her in far less pleasant terms. And I also mentioned the amount of credit card debt she has. Ding, ding, ding. And since then, things have been pretty frosty. Am I the a-hole for refusing to sell my second income? Hell no, dude. You're the a-hole if you marry this chick. Right there, guys, you heard it. She wants to sell these great businesses he has, these great income properties. He could quit his job, it doesn't matter. He's fine. For what? For a big stupid party and a honeymoon and to fix up her place? What happens if he went along with this and sold them and then later on she divorces him? All that money gone for that big stupid party to fix up her place, which he'll keep anyway, all that. And not to mention, notice he said here she racked up all this credit card debt. She's one of those. Guys, you can't let this happen to you. If you are a guy that's working on your purpose and building wealth, whether it be buying businesses, building businesses, whatever, saving money, investing it, you're with a girl that wants to just piss away on bullshit. This is the red flags he needs to see. It's actually very good that she's revealing these true colors now, as opposed to him marrying her and then afterwards showing her true nature. We'll give a silver line to the situation. Absolutely not. What this guy needs to do is kick her to the curb. But this guy, and I got to wonder if early on either she didn't show these true colors as much, or just simply he just wasn't aware and didn't know what to look out for. Now, real quick, I'll read a few comments so we get to the update of how he handles this situation. One guy says here, never ever marry a spender if you are a saver. If you will think, gee, I can teach them, I can earn more, but their habits will evolve to fit the box you provide. As you earn more, their lifestyle demands will grow. A good saver or earner will never out-earn a good spender. This is probably the worst incompatibility that people launch into marriage with, other than a discrepancy about wanting kids. You don't have to be the same financial mind, but you have to be able to understand and agree about like 85% of the way. And the biggest red flag here is that when they don't agree, she's demanding and yelling at him to just sell it and get a quick payout. Now the guy says, not the a-hole. Most definitely see a lawyer and get a prenup agreement. If you split, she gets nothing for what you have now. Never give her anything from these rentals, as they could set a precedent for future disbursements. Keep all money from your rentals and other ventures separate. Do not put her on the deed of your residence. 3 more things. 1, absolutely nail down who's paying for what for the wedding and the honeymoon. No, you do not pay the majority of it. 2, all wedding expenses must be paid before the wedding. If not, guests will be on the hook for them. Number 3, and this is a big one, all of her credit card debt needs to be declared post-haste. All future credit card debt is hers to pay off. Do not have any joint accounts. You might also get a copy of her credit report before you see a lawyer about the prenup. If she balks at any of this, you might want to reconsider the entire situation. Well, that's good advice if he goes ahead and marries her. My advice is don't marry her. This is a disaster. Because guess what? Yeah, she's going to spend them into oblivion. And her problems will become his problems. And even if he is smart enough to have separate accounts and keep everything in the different businesses and the LLCs that he has and all that and keep it right, still, her shit's going to affect him. And by the way, here's a question. Last time I checked, it's traditional for the bride's family to pay for the wedding. Am I not mistaken here? And usually the groom's family will pay for what the hell's the thing the day before, the rehearsal dinner, maybe the honeymoon. But so why is he and her paying for the freaking wedding? There's a big question here. Maybe her family doesn't have much money and therefore she's had to be a shopaholic and spender to make herself feel better from her maybe meager early years. I don't know. But this is a disaster. He should not be with her at all. No prenups and stuff like that, because it shouldn't happen. Now, let's see what happens. He says here, as an update, he says, so the conversation didn't happen until the weekend of the 14th of March. Life got in the way. It started fine, but quickly went south and ended in a big fight that degenerated into a lot of petty shit slinging by the end. She accused me of not trusting her, and I pointed out that her habits make it basically impossible to trust her with money anyway. Probably not my proudest moment. Dude, I think that's a very proud moment because you were hitting the nail right on the head. She's terrible with money. He has every right to defend himself. And I wouldn't trust her either. And guess what? You can't be in a relationship, a marriage, with somebody you don't trust. It's not going to work. But I did again make it clear that in no uncertain terms that the properties are staying in the LLCs and I will not sell them, and that the financial decisions regarding them will be mine alone. I may also have had a few choice words about the princess for a day wedding that she wanted. Good for him. Of course, she's going to explode because she thinks she's a princess. A couple weeks of avoiding each other and not talking and me sleeping in the basement of the townhouse, I said I wanted to hit the pause button and leave for a while. Good for you, man. She was upset but didn't say much. I loaded up my things and went to my parents' house and told them what happened. They told me I could stay as long as I needed. That's great for the parents. That's great that they're on his side. They're probably not surprised. Now listen to this. You're going to find out real quick, she's not just the a-hole in the situation. Somewhere near the end of April, I got a call from her dad out of the blue, demanding to know what was going on and why I'd broken things off. Oh, he didn't hear? His little princess didn't fill him in on the truth? I tried to explain what had been going on, but he was the angry dad of an upset young woman, and I don't think much got through. That call ended with him calling me a scumbag and hanging up on me. Scumbag sounds like her dad is much of a hothead as she is. Now, does this sound like an ideal family to move into? Remember, guys, I tell you about how you need to be with your girl for years to see what she's really like in real life situations, how she is with money, ding, 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 how she is at communicating, ding, 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 what her family's like that you could be marrying into, ding, ding, ding. The signs are all there from God to get the fuck away from these people. And again, thank God this is happening prior to them saying I do. He said, I only had a few properly long-term relationships and in my lifetime, but that's the first one I had an angry father yell at me about one. What the hell's he yelling at you for? You had every good reason. I'm not getting rid of my businesses just so she can have her magical day. In fact, he should be yelling back saying, hey, tight ass, where is the freaking check for the wedding? How about that? There's been no contact since. I'm sad that just over 4 years of my life were with someone that went up in smoke like this, but that's the way things go, I guess. My parents didn't seem very surprised when I showed up, so maybe I really was the last one to know what was going on, like so many Redditors were pointing out. He says, for some good news, and also the thing that reminded me to update my Reddit post, is that yesterday I bought another house, one for me to live in. A tiny little brick post-war brick ranch in an old subdivision about 20 minutes from my rentals. It needs work, but I'm honestly looking forward to having a project to take things off my mind. It's going to be strange living on my own again, but I think I'll manage. Yes, he will. And I love how this ends with him, guess what? Buying another property. Now he's living in it, and now he's renting the other ones, making a killing, and that's sweet. This guy just likes real estate. If he makes really smart decisions, he can be full-blown. Imagine how loaded he's going to be in 30 years if he keeps just reinvesting when the time is right and in the right places. But guys, this story ended well. She's toast. You can't be involved with someone like that if you're trying to build something. It's never going to work. I love building businesses. I love building wealth. I'm a business owner. I'm an investor, and there is no one ever that would ever come between me and my goals. Ever, ever, ever. I don't care who the fuck it is, because I love what I do, and I'm not going to let anybody or anything screw it up. And I'm sure a lot of you guys out there that are like me, that are on your grind, on your purpose, those of you that own businesses, that are investors, that are savers, that want to handle things smart with your money, you also know darn well no one's ever going to come in your way. And it ain't about greed or having money and all that. I just enjoy these things. I'm not letting anybody screw it up. So guys, there you go. That's how you handle it. Now, sure, he shouldn't have gotten involved with her in the first place, but I'm sure, like many, she put on a big show. So this ended well here. So very important to understand that, guys. And again, I got no problem with spending some money. You got to live a little. You know, I mean, my income has gone. I'm a personal trainer, and I'm actually winding down that business because of what's happening here with YouTube. And I did very well before I started here on YouTube. I was making I crossed into the six-figure category because remember, I live in north of Boston, a very expensive area. Therefore, I charge very high rates. And then I had a certain lifestyle, which I lived in terms of spending and all that. And then when I started on YouTube, everything whoosh, exploded. I'm not bragging, but I'm being honest here with you guys. But still, even though my income has gone through the fucking roof compared to what it was prior to YouTube, still my spending remains exactly the same. I only spend so much a year on new clothes or shoes, or just I still got to eat so many times per month, or take out so many times per month. So I have more to put away and invest in new businesses, invest here and there where I see fit. Nothing's changed. But there are people that the more they make, the more they spend. The more they make, the more they spend. And they got to have stuff to make them feel better. And those types of people will never be satisfied. So this is why you cannot be involved with a gal that is like that, because it will never, ever end. They will always have racked up credit cards. That'll be your problem. They'll decimate their credit, which will impact you upon things if you want to buy a house or something like that. You can't be with someone like this. And the way women feel out guys early on in the dates to see, how much money they have, what kind of money they make, all that. The same way as a guy, if you dating guys out there, to find out what she's like with money and all that. They're going to be better at guarding it, but you got to pay attention, because if you find out that she is someone that likes to piss away on bullshit all the time, she's always going away on trips and buying shit, then I tell you everything you need to know. Okay? And again, a little spending, that's fine. You can reward yourself. That's what you enjoy. But by and large, you want to be for you relationships, guys. If you're going to do relationships, you're going to do marriage, which I disagree with, but if you're going to do it, you want to know that she is someone that's into building wealth, putting it away for a rainy day, and can match you and your goals. Now, a few quick comments here, and I'll wrap this up. One guy says, it sounds like she wanted him to sell the better her situation, not theirs. Why would you get rid of a solid income stream? My boyfriend owns 2 properties that he rents out in Michigan. If anything, I'd convince him to buy more property because it helps his portfolio and brings him more cash flow. This builds in your credit. That's from a woman. She says here, it does suck to lose 4 years, but imagine what he would have lost in the eventual divorce. Yeah, he lost 4 years, and that does suck, but you know what? It could have been way worse. She could have hid her true colors. They got married, and then would lose all these great businesses he has. Another guy says, it's a damn shame that it didn't work out how you planned it, but as an investor, you know that sometimes you have to cut your losses. 4 years of dating versus what could have been a divorce in 7 with more than half of your shit toasted. Yeah, exactly. Look at it from the investor point of view. Another guy says here, I'm the first to admit that I'm absolute crap at saving money. I spend and spend and spend. Smack. Even if I can see that having this third income cushion is an absolute lifesaver. That is money for retirement, surprise expenses, possible layoffs, or any other shitty financial position a person can have. If I had an opportunity to have that, I'd be there in 30 seconds. Well, I'm glad that guy can recognize that, but something tells me if this guy's a spender, he'd probably liquidate the properties. This girl isn't just a spender, she's there for instant gratification. If you had this girl lottery number and told her that if she played them tomorrow, she would get $50,000, but if she played them in a year, she'd get $1 million. She would play tomorrow and complain that it wasn't $1 million. Yeah, pretty much. So guys, there you go. That'll be a very good one to cover. So I made this clear. You relationship guys, and you guys are particularly ones that are into saving money and building wealth, and your business owners and all that, do not get involved with someone like this, or better yet, stay a bachelor, because these gals, one way or another, will get in the way of your business aspirations. So, it's interesting when you see a lot of these business titans are all getting divorced lately, like Jeff Bezos a couple years ago, Bill Gates, or these top athletes like Tom Brady, definitely a man on his purpose, professional athletes, these business owners, these business titans, eventually they all get divorced. You've all been hearing the headlines. And I can imagine early on, although they've done phenomenal, imagine how much better they would have done if they decided, you know what, I'm going to stay single. This is my purpose in life, to be this amazing success in business or sports. I'm not going to let that shit get in the way. Imagine what it would have been like otherwise. But eventually, they seem to all get divorced, and look at the shit they go through. But they're moving on and end of story. But yet, it's interesting. A lot of these guys end up getting remarried again, and it goes through that same shit all over again in a few more years. Some of them just never learn, but hopefully you guys learn. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, if you got a great story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I definitely will. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.